Let's talk about 3 things that Black women who want to write a book must stop doing in order to start, finish, publish their books. Okay. But first, if we haven't met yet, I'm Alicia Joy. I uplift Black women, published authors, and aspiring authors. I'm also an author myself, and a book coach and a writer, and yeah. Let's get to the 3 things. The first thing that you have to stop doing as a Black woman, if you want to write your book, and you want to start, not just start writing, but finish writing your book, is you have to stop prioritizing everybody and everything else in your life. This is something we do. You could probably understand exactly what I'm saying and relate to this, right? We are the caretakers. We are the caretakers of people in our immediate family, people in our wider family, people in the community. We are always caring for other people. Somewhere in all of that, we often lose sight of care of ourselves, but also we often abandon our own goals, and especially goals like writing a book. Because that writing a book can really fall to the wayside unless you, for example, are an entrepreneur or a content creator and you want to use the book. It's one of the tools that you use to get, in front of more people or to share more value with your audience. If that's not you, writing a book will not feel like a pressing priority. And especially if you have a publishing contract, that's different. But otherwise, for you to start writing a book, to even formulate the idea and start, commit to it and say, yes, I'm going to dedicate the time and the energy to writing this book, it has to be a priority in your life. And it has to be a priority so that you can carve out the appropriate time and energy that's necessary to write the book. Without doing that, you won't get anywhere, because it does take a consistent output of energy for a period of time. Even if you write that book slowly, which is fine, still, it does take a consistent amount of expended energy. So if you are prioritizing everybody else and everything else and taking care of everybody else, you won't be able to. And your book idea, the dream, it will always just remain a dream. You have to decide it's time. Now is the time, because here's another thing. There will never be the most ideal time. The perfect time is not going to come. You have to make the perfect time. Granted, there are, we have to be real, there are some periods of our life where things are overwhelmingly hectic. I'm not denying that. But other than that, the general obligations that we have and our schedule, it will always seem like, oh, there's this and there's that. Oh, let me wait till this time, wait till that time. Can you focus on this as a goal, prioritize it as a goal in your life? If not now, when? Because forever you'll be delaying. So that is the first thing that you have to stop doing, is prioritizing everybody else and putting yourself on the back burner. It's time to prioritize yourself and prioritize one of your goals, which is writing your book. It's time. The second thing that you have to stop doing as a Black woman who is writing a book is suppressing your voice. I talked about this in another video where I talked about the biggest mistakes that Black women writers make. I'll drop a link to that video below. And you will hear me talk about this probably quite often, because it is so necessary that you really get this. A lot of us Black women have lived in spaces where we feel like we have to suppress our voices. We have worked in environments where the minute we express ourselves, we are, all types of criticism and judgment come down on us. You're argumentative, you're this, you're aggressive, you're that. And even if you haven't had that happen, you think this because this is basically what the world has told you about Black women. And so you really internalize this. A lot of us, I know definitely for me, and I'm a very passionate person. I speak very passionately. Things that I'm excited about, when I'm, things I'm upset about, or things I'm neutral about, or just anything I'm voicing my opinion about, I'm very passionate. That doesn't come across so well in certain spaces. And it never has. And because of that, what happened was I tended to really like suppress my voice. And I tended to feel like I can't be fully me. And it took me years to get over that foolishness. And you have to get over it also, because when you are writing a book, the best book that you can write is the book that comes fully from your true, authentic voice and nowhere else. But you're only going to get to that place if you stop suppressing it. So to stop suppressing the voice, there's things that you have to do, including writing, right? Because on the one hand, you're suppressing that your voice. So we want to do the opposite of that, right? Which is to fully express yourself and to reconnect with your authentic voice. I never say finding your voice, because I don't think it's somewhere out that you have to search and find. No, it's within. So it's just a matter of reconnecting to your true voice. And this does come from writing. There is no better way to do this but to write a lot. So, and that will come as you're writing the book. But before you even get to the book, maybe there's other things that you want to start writing. Maybe short stories or essays, or I don't, depends on, of course, which category of book you're interested in writing. Maybe it's even just things like blog posts or long posts on social media, but also writing for yourself. I believe that one of the most important things you can do is to have a safe space for you to write. And that's in a journal where you are writing, you're not sharing that with anybody else. And so you are free to write. There is a sense of freedom in that. And we tend not to restrict ourselves as much when we think other people won't be reading. We're not judging so much. We're not censoring and filtering. This is very powerful for you to get to that true voice, to start uncovering it, to ferret it out from the depths, because unfortunately you've probably been suppressing it. But to write your book, we can't have that, right? So the first thing you have to stop doing is prioritizing everybody and everything else except you and your book project. The second thing you need to stop doing is suppressing your voice, and this will be a process. And the third thing that you need to stop doing is questioning your worth. When you decide to write a book, it doesn't matter what kind of book this is. Really, it doesn't. Poetry, fiction, nonfiction, whatever. You will question whether you are worthy of writing that book. Or like people who have written their books and it's been acclaimed and they've won awards, they still also sometimes come to the page or decide, okay, I need to write another book. And they say, am I worthy? That's like, what? How can that be? We all have self-doubt and self-criticism, right? But with Black women in particular, and especially when it comes to the topic of writing, something that traditionally we weren't in that space much at all. And then many years ago, we were forbidden from being in that. I'm a child of slaves. My parents are Caribbean. There was a huge period of time where my ancestors weren't allowed to read or write, yet alone write a book. So these things, they internalize and they pass down generation after generation. And we look around at society and we see who fits the title of, the classic writers and the best in the literature of the world and all these things. We have doubts, right? Maybe I'm not a writer. I can't write. I'm not worthy. Who's going to be reading what I write? You absolutely are worthy, and your words matter. You'll hear me say this quite often because my motto is that our words matter. It is vital that you write your book. I'm telling you this. And you need to understand and internalize and really get it deep down that, yes, you are worthy. There's really nothing that you need to do or any certification that you need to have had, degree. Sometimes that's another thing we think. Oh, it's only people who have, big fancy degrees, and that's wonderful for them. Nothing to berate them or to bring down people's degrees. No, But those aren't the only people who need to be writing, and specifically writing books. So whether you have a high degree or not, you are worthy. The very fact that you have the idea and the inspiration to write and share a message, you're worthy of doing it. And you need to stop questioning your worth. You do. If you need to watch this again several times, please do, because what I want from you today is for you to stop questioning your worth, or at least get to the point where if you have these moments of self-doubt, because it's normal, where they creep back up again, be able to get over them to the point where you're not like, oh, I'm the most confident person in the world. We don't need that. What we do need is you writing. That's the antidote. This is what you need to do in opposition to those thoughts and feelings, is to actually show up, sit down at your desk or stand, whatever, and write your book. Understand that your words matter. So those are the 3 things that Black women who are writing a book must stop doing in order to start, finish, and publish. Thing number 1, you have to stop prioritizing everybody and everything else but yourself and your book. Thing number 2, you have to stop suppressing your voice. And thing number 3 is you need to stop questioning your worth. I will drop links below to anything that I mentioned in this video. I'll drop them in the description below.